Hi, and welcome to Chronicles of Nani. I'm Nani, and I'm for real this time. I'm not a rerun. Still not quite 100%. I'll explain that as we go. But I am definitely back, and you're seeing the real me in April of 2022. I hope that you'll find information on this vlog interesting, makes you laugh sometimes, makes you go, and even sometimes shocking that I can't believe you're actually talking about that. This is going to be one of those days. And if you find any of that helpful, entertaining, good to know or comforting to hear somebody talk about it, please subscribe. I'd like to see that subscriber number go up. That makes me smile a little more. It helps me when I'm not feeling well, which I'm still at this point kind of getting better. We'll start today off with the coffee shop because it is my cyber coffee shop. And the cyber coffee mug today is my palm tree mug from Florida. The fun thing about Florida, the first time that I went to Florida, it was an on-purpose mistake. That sort of goes with the rerun last week about silly poetry, and that I come with my sense of humor pretty honestly. Mom and I had gone on vacation. We were in Georgia, in the Brunswick area. I usually did a full itinerary list that said basically places we might be and all of the reservations that I made for hotels, so that my dad knew where we were supposed to be in case of emergency. This was in the late 80s through the 90s that we did a lot of mother-daughter trips in November. And without the cell phones at that time, you didn't just keep in touch with Pop. So Pop needed to know in case of emergency, whether it was emergency with us or emergency at home. He needed to know where we'd be. So I did the itinerary for Pop, said nothing about going to Florida. We were not that far from Florida once we're in the Golden Isles, the Brunswick area of Georgia. And we had actually planned on doing this. We drove down into Florida. The first exit off the highway, when we got into Florida, we got off. And we went to a gas station. And we bought a Florida postcard. And we sent it to my dad. And the message was just simply, oops. Now, today we're not talking about silly and goofy stuff. Because today we're talking about the fact that I'm not back to 100% yet. Because what I thought was allergies turned out to be a UTI. My doctor diagnosed that when she changed my catheter. We'll talk more about that in a minute too. But she changed my catheter, and instantly after she changed it, she said, "You've got an infection, there's no question." According to what I read at the Mayo Clinic website, there are 4 different places in the urinary tract. Those are the kidneys, the ureters, the bladder, and the urethra. I will admit I had no idea what the ureters were or that they were anything until I read the article about urinary tract infections at the Mayo Clinic website. I'm really picky about places that I will accept medical information from. They are basically the top 5 research hospitals in the United States, and yeah, that's it. I won't, tell me that there's an article in Newsweek about some new medical breakthrough. I'm going back to Cleveland Clinic or to Johns Hopkins or the Mayo Clinic, because those are places that I trust to actually know about medical stuff. I don't trust any source, and certainly not social media, to tell me about medical things. I've got some websites that I'll look at, and I still always go back to sending a text to my doctor saying, I found this out, what do you think? And she either answers me, calls me, or says, wait till the next time that I'm over to see you and we'll talk about it some more. And we do. And that goes back to, I'm lucky I've got a great doctor. And having a doctor that I get along with that well, Diana, who is a CMP, has been my visiting nurse practitioner for 6 years in June. So we have a very good relationship. She's honest and respectful with me, and she's just a fantastic match for me. It is absolutely worth it and necessary to find a doctor that you get along with that well. But so I did go to the Mayo Clinic website and found the 4 parts of the urinary tract. The ureters are actually the lines between the bladder and the kidneys. Never knew that. I knew the kidneys are part of it, and then the bladder and the urethra. How do the kidneys and bladder connect? Now I know. And I'm sharing that with you, and now you know because it's from a trustable site. And it's the ureters, which you definitely don't want to have anything to do with the UTI in the ureters, because that means it's moving up to your kidneys, and that's bad. UTIs are actually more common with women than they are with men. One of those terribly unfair things. But that's physiology. The urethra is actually shorter in women than it is in men, which means that the distance between germs that are outside of the body and into the bladder is a shorter journey for women than it is for men. The indoor plumbing also means that the labia are actually keeping those germs warm and helping the cultures grow. The most common UTIs are in the bladder and the urethra. I ended up with a urethral catheter I wore it 24/7. With all of the painful and all of the uncomfortable and all of the incessant UTIs that go with it. Because a urethral catheter is something that if you're using it a lot, it can really bring those germs in and give you a UTI. So I had lots of those. Now, if you remember my funny story about the two male urologists that are telling me, no, you shouldn't have to wear this all the time. You can just do this on your own. They somehow missed the MS and that I'm a female. My female urologist and I were talking about it, and I wanted to get a suprapubic catheter, which is instead of a catheter that sticks into your urethra and comes out between your legs. This is a catheter where they actually do a surgical procedure, and it's a catheter that is replaced once a month, more often if it's needed. But the catheter goes directly into your bladder. A suprapubic catheter, because it is a hole that goes directly into your body, it doesn't heal up, because if it healed up, you couldn't change the catheter, and you couldn't keep things clean and keep the UTIs away. But it's often used for people that have got some sort of infection that they cannot use their urethra. Mine is not that. Mine is simply that I can't get the urge to pee, stand up, and go to the bathroom. And even if I've got somebody with me all the time, there's not enough time to put me in a lift to get me to the bathroom. So to keep me from basically wetting all over myself, which really makes your skin break down and leaves you sorer than you were to start with. The area where the catheter goes in, because it's an open area, needs to be cleaned every day. And also, everybody's a little bit different. Mine, it actually needs to be flushed every day, which is to make sure that, since I can't walk around, and so many things that you take for granted. When I was walking all the time, whenever you're walking, you're moving things around in your bladder, and you don't get sediment because things move around, and you urinate as usual, and any sediment is little flecks that go away. And if you can't walk and you can't move and your bladder just stays there, you get sediment that collects at the bottom of your bladder. One thing that I do as well is I at least 3 glasses of water a day. Also have a half a teaspoon of lemon juice, because the citric acid helps to keep the sediment from forming. So those are 3 things that I'm supposed to have done every day: is flush the catheter, and to clean the catheter area, and make sure that I've got that lemon juice. Because I don't have a regular home health aide, and my husband has also got, his normal schedule for work and everything, so he's not here all the time either. There have been too many days that I'm not getting those essential things to keep UTI away. And it wasn't until I started feeling really sick that I thought, maybe it could be an infection. when she changed the catheter, she immediately said, "No, but you've got an infection," and she put me on antibiotics. Now the biggest thing with antibiotics is you have to take all of them, and I don't have a problem with that because I like feeling healthy. I like smiling and making sure that I'm not showing reruns because I'm too sick to talk to my computer for a while. My husband had put antibiotics in with my regular pills, but he only did it till Wednesday, and I didn't realize that. And I hadn't been asking for them since Thursday. So I'm going to see my doctor later this afternoon, and I'm going to ask her, okay, so now I haven't taken a pill since Wednesday night. Do I just start and finish the bottle of pills now, or do I need to start over? Because honestly, I don't know. So we'll see. So some of the things that I did find out at the Mayo Clinic website is some of the symptoms that can be part of you having a UTI is if you have a burning sensation when you urinate, that you pass frequent small amounts of blood in your urine, if your urine appears cloudy. I actually had all of those things going on. I didn't really realize it because the urine was dark. I thought I just wasn't drinking enough water. The truth is, it was dark because there was a little bit of blood in it. And I was where I thought something got moved with the catheter is because every now and then I would feel almost like a spasm, and urine would come out through the urethra. Remember I said before, sometimes you have a catheter because you have a blockage in your urethra. I don't, which means that if my bladder can't find someplace else to put the urine, it sends it out through the urethra. The catheter seemed to be working well, and the bag wasn't full. There was no reason for the urine to be coming out through the urethra, yet it was. And when it did, it burned. All part of looking back at it, now that I'm looking at the symptoms on the Mayo Clinic's website, that, yeah, I should be able to figure out this was definitely a UTI. Fortunately, my doctor was smart enough to say, yeah, real quick, I know it is, and she got me on the antibiotics right away. So yeah, that's Nani talking about some of the things a lot of people are uncomfortable talking about. And I understand why that's an uncomfortable subject. To be honest, it's kind of an uncomfortable subject for me. I don't want to talk about how I urinate. In fact, my bag that the urine goes into, when I'm out someplace in the wheelchair, I actually have a bag the bag goes into. So you just see like a dark shopping bag hanging off of my armrest on my wheelchair, and you don't think anything of it. It's actually where the urine bag goes, and it keeps it hidden. So for now, we're going to call that the end of Chronicles of Nani for this week. And remember, the coffee shop is open 24/7. I premiere at 8 o'clock in the morning on Fridays, but you can always join me for a cup of coffee or a few cups of coffee whenever you have time and want to come see me. But make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next week.